right, welcome to a very epic Friday afternoon, but after the Niceville game edition of Final Approach Game Day. It is sponsored, of course, by our boys at Final Approach Irrigation. Welcome to the roundtable, guys. 5 dudes in a video live thing talking football. It's the dream, baby. We've done it. We've made it. Colin, don't be too excited, Colin. All right.
Oh, wait a second. I got a sound effect for you.
Do it. Thank you. It's nice to be liked. That's all I'm saying. Welcome to Final Approach to Game Day. I'm Christopher SoWal. To my left is Colin Bester. To my right is Heath Rominger. Hunter Brock of Final Approach Irrigation is down there, as is Joshua Wilson, FloridaHSFB.com. Guys, we have so much to talk about, but let's get right into it, man. I think we just go right into the Niceville High School football game last night. It was a barn burner. I mean, it started fast. We saw Niceville go down 13 points by halftime. We saw Niceville get up off the mat, decide that they wanted to win a football game, take it to overtime, and then take a tough loss in the final overtime. I mean, all overtimes are final, right? But it was a great game, guys. Niceville looked like an honest-to-God real football team last night, and I really enjoyed the game. Keith, you were there for the whole thing. What'd you think, brother?
I tell you what, that was some of the most exciting football that I've seen in a long time at the high school level. This was 2 teams that I felt like both on paper were match for match, offense and moving the ball on the ground and in the air. But I tell you, seeing the energy in there on that field, I tell you what, if you weren't sitting on the edge of your seat on those last couple of minutes of the game, you just aren't into football. That's all I got to say.
Well, you probably don't have a pulse if you're not on the edge of your seat for this one, because I was losing my mind on the sidelines. You know, I'm of course an impartial and neutral observer, and so I was just watching, was ecstatic about how hard fought that game was. Josh, you watched it from afar, man. What do you think? What was your analysis on this one?
Oh my goodness! I mean, that was what you call for a tit for tat there, especially towards the final minutes. But looking at it, I felt like Niceville had every chance to win that game had they not taken that sack on first down. That you talk about a motivation killer right there. That did it in for them, and that's the thing, is that you can't take a sack on first down. You can't. I don't care what point of the game. You cannot take a sack on first down, because you take a sack on first down, you're going to be playing on behind the sticks most likely for the rest of the downs. And that right there, I mean, sitting there, I'm going back and looking at the playoff, the projected playoff brackets there from the FSA Power Rankings. Obviously, Niceville sitting there in that 8th spot right now from this, this past week. What is it going to look like come next Tuesday when they release the rankings? Is Niceville still going to be sitting there in that 8th spot just because it was a close overtime loss, or is there a different player that's going to make a push here, depending on what happens here with the week 8 results across the state in terms of district play?
Well, so Josh, for your money, do they stay in? Are they like a 3rd District 1 team that makes it? I feel like they have a chance of staying in, but you gotta win out now at this point, in order just to keep other teams at bay, in this particular case. And I'm going looking at some of the teams and just what I feel like maybe potentially here as we look at this. It just I'm trying to pull up here on my spreadsheet here, looking at the where the teams are sitting at based upon their region here, and I'm looking at it right now, and there's the one team, the 2 teams I feel like could be at stake here that could try to make a push here, and it all depends on what happens tonight. You got to take the fact you've got Matanzas obviously sitting there in District 4. Let's see how they finish out, because they're sitting there in the mix. What happens with Childs? Does Childs somehow come up with the magical upset on Lincoln tonight? Because if Childs upsets Lincoln, then all bets are off, because it's going to throw the whole region into chaos. Yeah, and I mean, Hunter, when you left that game at halftime, man, you had an early morning appointment, but like you stuck in there, man, and you leave at halftime. And what are you hearing from your house just down the road?
Yeah, so as you guys know, I live close enough. I can hear the cheering. I can hear the band, everything from my house. And so I was like, man, this is getting exciting. Usually, Mosley turned out a good crowd here too. They had their band here too. But, a lot of times you can tell from my house whether Niceville is doing good or bad because generally speaking, the cheering is much louder. Well, last night I was like, I don't know what's going on. And of course, I was listening on the radio. Colin and I were both listening on the radio. And then we get to overtime, 10 o'clock hit last night, and we lost our live feed on the radio right there when everything was just crazy. And it's like, oh, man, what's happening? So, it sounded like it was a really good second half of a ball game, and I'm really disappointed that I missed it. But, I was very pleased with the first half. I was impressed. Yesterday I had my pick that that Niceville was going to win, and we had every chance to, it sounds like. And it sounds like there at the end, from the beginning to the end, it sounds like our guys showed up and they did want to win. They were ready to play. Early to start the game, Niceville came out the gate looking like a different team to me. Mm-hmm. Then as we got into the second quarter there, they did kind of seem to fall back into a little bit of a rut of how they have been playing. But it sounds like halftime, maybe we made some adjustments, came back out, and we were ready to go. So I'm disappointed I missed that, but I'm very happy that they were able to do that. And so hopefully we can take that and build upon that and continue and try to win out from here on.
Yeah, and I mean, Josh, you'll have to tell us, you're better at all the math and the stats with this, man. But, in order for Niceville to win this or to stay in, right, and I'll pull up their report card. I'll probably have to cycle through a couple of them. But, I mean, Niceville hey there, Colin. Niceville had a good chance coming into this game, right? Mosley, you can see it right here, beat Milton already, 6-1 record. According to, the numbers that we crunched, have B+ offense, have a C defense. And for the rest of the year, they got Arnold, Gulf Breeze, and Florida State High School, right? And so I think it gets a little bit easier for Mosley. I mean, Florida State High School, no lout, but Arnold and Gulf Breeze, not good football teams. Niceville was number 10 in our regional power ranking so far this week, 4-4 now with a B offense, C+ defense, games against Milton and Navarre. So I think that Milton, go ahead, Colin. I mean, you watched them play, or Josh, you got to beat Milton. You have to beat Milton because if you don't beat Milton, I'll say all bets are off in this situation. You're going to beat Navarre. Navarre. I mean, might as well just beat a dead horse. We know Navarre's down. Okay, yeah. And they're down even further compared to last year. So I mean, that's beating a dead horse in that situation. I mean. Just real quick, by the way, the Florida Power Rankings Index only had it was a 5-point spread, mostly by 5. I mean, you look at it; it was pretty doggone close there, and by the time it was all said and done. But you've got to beat Milton, and the way Milton came out and flexed on Gulf Breeze last night, that's a tough act. Yeah, and we're gonna bring Colin in right now because Colin was at that game last night, and he shot some sweet video. I'm gonna turn this. Sorry about that. All the crowd noise gets loud there at Milton Stadium over there. So
I got to say, great play by Iron Fleming getting the strip sack. And then we get a touchdown return by Lorenzo Davis Jr. I think this was the play that sort of put Milton out of reach. This is early in the first quarter. This was, I think, 21-0 at this point. Mm-hmm. And then Milton just turned on the afterburners after that. By the way, I'm glad I took Gulf Breeze to cover the spread. Florida High School football had 44 points over Milton, and they won by 42. So, if you were a betting man, you would have won money last night. But
I will take credit that was actually that close on the line.
I got to say, as someone who's seen Milton twice, we saw Milton week 1 opening Crestview. Then we saw them against Gulf Breeze. I feel like this is a very different team, but we saw week 1. Things are coming together. The defense, I think, is playing at a higher level. But you look at their schedule, Josh. They're currently right now, I think, tied for second place with Niceville in the District 1 5A. They have West Florida Tech, and then they go to Niceville, and then they go to Pace to finish the year. if Milton loses one of these games, let's say they drop to West Florida Tech or Pace at the end of the year, but they beat Niceville, does Milton go to the playoffs this year, or do they have to, are they in the same boat as Niceville and they have to win out the remaining of their schedule to go to the playoffs?
I think Milton's in a better position just because of the games, the amount of games they've won so far. I mean, obviously they were 4 this past week in terms of the rankings for the region, so I think they're in a little bit better position. But again, you got to keep an eye on some of the other games in the region. Obviously, again, that Childs Lincoln game is going to be so critical because if Childs manages to pull off the upset on Lincoln, I say all bets are off. It's going to cause chaos in the whole region here. I mean, I'm already looking at it right now. Here's another scenario that you've got to keep in mind here. And even though Fleming Island's not right now in the top 8, they're in that 5A District 3, which has got last year carried 4 teams to the playoffs. So there's some critical games over there that are going to have to be watched on as well, because another big one that's happening tonight in that side is Ponte Vedra at Middleburg, and if Middleburg pulls off the win on Ponte Vedra, there's going to definitely be a lot of reshuffling there. So again, there's anything can go here in this region. I mean, Niceville again, you really need to win out. I mean, in order to maybe get, just get out of that 8, maybe get to 7 or 6 at some point. But if you can't beat Milton, you're going to have to hope for some other teams to do some other things to make it happen. And it's just, again, a lot is up in stakes. I mean, this is probably, I mean, out of the regions in 5A, this is probably the strongest region of the 4 regions.
Oh, so Josh, is what you're saying is we have a chance.
You have a chance, right?
Have a chance.
There's a maybe.
You got to win out. You've got to beat Milton. I mean, Navarre's almost a pretty much a for sure win, unless Navarre somehow figures it out here in the next couple of weeks to how to win a game or two. At this particular point, you've got to beat Milton. But if Milton gets that win, I mean, you're looking at it. Obviously, we got the report card there. Obviously, Gulf Breeze. Obviously, that was a win last night. West Florida. I mean, I could see a little bit of a battle, but if they win that game, that's where it comes down to. Okay, it's Niceville and Pace basically for Milton at this point. At this particular point. In my mind, Milton has to win one of those 2 games in order just to make sure that they're safely in. Otherwise, you lose those 2 games, you may be looking at a little bit of lower seed, or potentially could be out, depending again what happens in other regions. And one of the key critical games, Fleming Island and Beachside, which is another one out of that 5A District 3, that game actually got postponed until the 4th of November because, again, weather conditions along the East Coast are not favorable right now for some of these teams, and it's unfortunately they've taken a hit. Obviously, they're still a new school over there. They've only been open for a few years, and a lot of the field and stuff is still kind of not totally set. After especially 2 years, 3 years being open.
Yeah, and so Josh, before we go to our commercial break, can you kind of give us the lay of the land especially for the 5A teams? Who are the teams that Mosley or Milton or Niceville are most likely to play in the first round of the playoffs? Who do you see kind of like stacking up right now?
Well, if you're any one of the Panhandle teams ends up in that 8 spot, you may be looking at a very long road trip over to Daytona Beach, mainly from mainland, or potentially over to Beachside, depending if they can manage to get past mainland on that 1 seed. If they end up winning 5A3, but again, anything can go here. Basically, some of the teams in the Panhandle are going to be looking at long road trips towards the Jacksonville area if they get in that 5 through 8 spot. So that's what we're looking at. But if Mosley wins out, they get a top 4 seed, they'll be obviously hosting. But my concern for Mosley in the playoffs would be is you got to win a playoff game, because last couple of years you've been one and done out of the playoffs. So it's that's been an issue. But again, you're looking at some long road trips. I mean, obviously you're going to have a Tallahassee team involved here. So there may be, either the Tallahassee team's going to come over towards over towards y'all, or they're going to head towards Jacksonville. I don't think any of the Tallahassee teams, if they win that district, are going to end up hosting. And if they end up pairing with another district champ, it just, again, there's so much fluid in here because there's so many good teams in this region, and some good teams are going to get left sitting at home.
Absolutely. Well, guys, before we go to break, let's do one word that describes last night's Niceville-Mosley game. Hunter, we'll start with you, man.
Why you gotta pick me first and put me on the spot? Epic.
Exuberating.
I'll go first. So I picked energy. I think the energy was totally different at the Eagles' Nest last night. I think for the first half of the season, everybody's been walking on eggshells. I feel like the team has been trying not to lose instead of trying to win. And last night, because I mean, look, it was do or die, right? And Niceville showed up to play football. I thought they looked really good. I thought Deegan McCoy played way better than a sophomore typically does. I thought Jacoby Killiard is an incredible running back. He runs and he catches the ball. I thought the defense showed up for probably the first time this season where they looked like an honest-to-God B-plus defense. And I think that had everything to do with the crowd's energy, the way that they felt backed into a corner and they were ready to fight. What do you got, Heath? What do you think, man?
Well, I said exuberant.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I tell you, the energy last night and watching those kids just going at it, play after play after play. I think with that, with last night, it came down to a few turnovers that were costly for both teams. But unfortunately for Niceville, Mosley actually got the one most favorable. But I tell you what, the energy in that stadium reminds me of the glory days.
All right, so Colin, one word.
I'm going to speak from the Milton perspective. Disappointing. I think Niceville needed to beat Mosley for Milton to have the easier chance to actually probably compete for a district title, because Milton dropped to Mosley. If Niceville beat Mosley and then Milton beats Niceville, it puts three teams 1-1, and then each of them would have to go for a shootout. So I think for Milton, if you're a Milton fan, you wanted Niceville to beat Mosley, but now they enter a bye week, and then coming off that bye week, they have Milton going into the Eagles' Nest. So, it's going to be very interesting next couple of weeks.
Big key word, if they beat Niceville. If Milton beats Niceville.
See, Josh has this little supercomputer, and I don't know if we have time, but if there was a hypothetical matchup tonight, Milton versus Niceville, who would come out on top?
Oh, okay. So you're challenging me right now on this. So now this wouldn't include the result from last night, because obviously I haven't put any results in from the games last night, because that doesn't get in until everybody plays for this week here. But based upon if we were to put that in right now, I'm putting it in right now into the computer. So Milton and Niceville, just a hypothetical. I mean, I be honest with you, it would favor right this second, just based upon everything through week 7. It would favor Niceville by 1.
Wow. Okay. So
wow,
that's close. That's going to be a great football game.
Y'all don't miss this show in a couple of weeks. It's going to be fun.
You know what sucks?
It's going to be 3-on-1, Colin. Get ready.
Well, the thing is, what sucks is the schedule is really favorable, because depending on what happens in 1-2A tonight, Josh, as you're looking at all these teams like South Walton and Freeport playing each other, Catholic Walton are playing each other. If Catholic beats Walton, which I think everyone here expects to happen, and if South Walton beats Freeport, I think October 24th, South Walton Pensacola Catholic meet up. And that could determine who wins District 1-2A.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's again, a lot's going to ride on the side. What's going to happen here tonight? What week 10 is going to look like for a lot of teams, because it's either teams are securing playoff berths obviously tonight, or they're taking it into week 10, and that will secure it there. So again, there's a lot riding on these teams here. Again, for these games tonight, because it's basically it's do or die now. It's season's on the line. It's either you're going to postseason, you're going to be most likely in postseason even if you lose tonight, or hey, if I don't win tonight, we're out.
Right on. So Josh, have you given us a word?
I would say nuts is a word to the for last night, because just watching that game and listening to the announcers I know they were Mosley announcers, but I mean they were giving fair talk to Niceville too. At the end of the day, they were just you can just hear the jubilation. It's like like a great game. If you're behind the mic for one of those games, you definitely would be enjoying that, being able to sit there and call that game.
Well, right on, guys. Well, we have plenty more to talk about on tonight's Final Approach show, so stick with us past the commercial break. You know your lawn's looking a little bit janky. All those busted up sprinkler heads, dead patches. It's okay though. Final Approach Irrigation got you. Their experienced and knowledgeable staff will quickly diagnose the problem and get right to work fixing it. Final Approach Irrigation is the best in the game, and they'll keep your lawn looking undefeated this fall. The refs won't be throwing any flags on them. They'll do you right every single time. Absolutely fair and transparent pricing, along with honest work ethic and integrity. Check them out over at finalapproachirrigation.com to get started today. Thanks again to our friends at Final Approach Irrigation for sponsoring this show and making sure you know everything there is to know about high school football here on the Emerald Coast this season. All right, guys, welcome back to the Final Approach to Game Day. We had two big games last night. Well, one big game, and a huge blowout, I guess. I'm so used to saying blowout in reference to my small children's diapers. And I feel like that was pretty much the same thing last night over at Milton High School. The thing that I like to do the most is the power rankings. We have our power rankings for this week, brought to you by an amalgamation, including FloridaHSFB.com. We put them all together, get this stuff, and this is for week 8 before the games were played last night. As you might have guessed, Choctaw still on top. Choctaw still the best. Pace coming in after that. Bay, Mosley, Milton, kind of within striking distance of each other. Same thing with Catholic, though Catholic has dropped a spot. They've been moving up and down. South Walton plays Freeport tonight. I'll be over at that game while Colin is holding down the fort for Navarre Crestview. Niceville, guys, does Niceville stay in the top 10 after an overtime loss to a very good Mosley team?
Does that depend on if Freeport wins tonight or loses?
Ooh. Here's what I think. Here's what I think happens tonight. It's not the Freeport game. It's West Florida or Bay, because West Bay is traveling to West Florida. West Florida's 4-2. Bay is 5-1. If West Florida wins, they haven't played a district game yet, but they would go to 1-0 in that district. They would take, I think it's 1-3A. Correct me if I'm wrong, Josh. Right now,
it would be one. It would be the 3A District 1, but then they would have to beat Pensacola to clinch the district. Otherwise, if Pensacola somehow finds a way to beat West Florida, then you're at a 3-way tie, and then you got to let the FHA power rankings decide whatever the final power ranking break the tie there on that one. The days are long gone of those the shootouts for the side of district.
Well, and it's to our loss, right? Because I think these power rankings for us, at least, they're very malleable. I mean, we've seen some teams that we thought were really good. I mean, we thought Niceville was a top 3 team at the beginning of the year. They're not.
Well, a lot of people thought they were in the mix. I mean, they were even nationally ranked in the High School Football America 300 rankings too, as well.
Yeah, and so I mean, like, we take a look at our individual power rankings. So, myself, Colin, Irish, Bill over in Navarre, and of course, Josh, you give us your rankings as well, and we mix them in there with FHSAA, Max Preps to kind of figure out who our top 10 power ranked teams are. You can see that we're pretty much mostly in some level of agreement. The outliers, I guess, are Baker for Josh. Baker, of course, a rural team that has been playing very well against its opponents. I'm excited to see that Baker Freeport game. Colin, are you going to that one? Is that what we decided?
Yeah, it's next week.
Yeah, and so we'll be able to see both. If Freeport's able to beat South Walton, and then they go and play Baker, I think that'll tell us everything we need to know about the Baker Gators this year. And then the FHSAA has Niceville in their top 10. For our area, has Choctaw first, Catholic third, has Bay ahead of Mosley, despite the fact, or no, that's right, Bay beat Mosley. And then Milton and Tate, those are some really good football teams, man. There's not a lot of space in between those guys either.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Colin.
See, yeah, with Milton Tate, with obviously Josh, you probably saw the score of that game. It was 3-0 Milton. And now Tate is sort of taking on the spot as probably the top team in Escambia County. They're probably going to be a school that I think, especially because they're punching above everyone else, they're in 6A. So they're probably to go out of the Northwest Florida to play a team in Central South Florida.
Oh yeah, they're gonna have to go. They're gonna have to go on the road most likely, since they're at 6A Region 1. Their most likely destination, if they get that 8 seed, will most likely be to Gainesville to play Buchholz.
But one of the most, I think the game of the week matchup, and there's contenders. I mean, Freeport South Walton, great game. I think Catholic Walton has it could be a great game if Walton's defense actually keeps Pensacola Catholic in check. I think that'll be kind of fun. But I think Pace and Tate, obviously, I think is the game of the week. It's the two heavyweights in Northwest Florida battling it out. Pace, I don't know if Makael Williams is going tonight. He was out last week with an ankle injury. He was out, I think, really most of the game against Crestview, who went down pretty early in the first quarter. But Tate, according to my stats I pulled up, they've held their opponents to the lowest rushing yards in all the games they played. Out of 5 out of the 6 games they played, they held teams to the lowest rushing yards. So Pace, being one of the best rushing teams in the state of Florida, playing one of the best rushing defenses in the state of Florida as Tate. How do you see that game going?
I mean, that one right there. I mean, it's just there's a lot here riding here. I mean, for Pace and Tate tonight, but Pace is, in my mind, is you know, they're one of the more dominant teams right this second. I mean, I love what they're doing. I mean, obviously, you know, the transition from dad to son there at Pace has been, you know, it's been executed beautifully. I don't know how often you get transitions like that where you can go from father to son and do it that way. And Pace is a good example of where you've been able to do that. So I you know, right now I'm riding on that Pace train right this second. Tate, you just got to take this one, take it on the chin, and win out, and then you're in the playoffs. But I know the playoff path again. It's, you know, I think when we look at 6A Region 1, the key outliers you got to keep an eye on. There's obviously a couple teams down that way. Obviously, I would say that are kind of like they're outside the rankings right this second for the FHA is Lake Howell and Oviedo. Those are 2 teams that I would keep an eye on to see, because they may end up having to fight. They may end up having to fight with them in order to get those spots into that bracket.
How does Crestview fare? I mean, they're not mathematically eliminated yet. They're still 0-1, but they can win out, and you know.
They can win out, but it's going to be harder for Crestview to be able to get into that top 8. That's where the problem lies, and it's just that I think you started off too slow this year, and now you're sitting here behind the sticks basically, and so to speak, and you got to be able to win some games early on in order to make sure that, hey, if you're later in the season, you're not sitting there, hey, I got to play catch up in order to get into the playoffs.
Right on. Well, Hunter, you know, you want to come with me to this South Walton Freeport game tonight, and I'm really excited about that. And, you know, we're talking about the best game of the week. What's the game of the week? What made you say, like, man, I got to see these 2 teams play tonight?
Well, first of all, I think both teams are quality teams this year. They both put out a quality program this year. And then second of all, you know, you and I were talking earlier today about the whole let's change this up into conferences, all that kind of thing. That's another story. But part of that is, you know, local play and local. I mean, it's Freeport versus South Walton, right down the street from each other. Like, I think it's going to be a great game. I think they're both going to show up and try to knock each other in the mouth all night tonight. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. But that's what I think. It's going to be a really good game, because I haven't paid as close attention to the Walton County schools in the past as I have this year, just loosely. My brother-in-law used to coach at Freeport, so I hear things here and there. But this year, both teams seem to be doing quite well. Both teams have some things going for them in their favor, and I want to see what happens. I think it's going to be a good game.
Heath, what do you think, brother? Oh, he's muted. Hang on. Let me make sure I didn't do him dirty.
No, I did it on my end.
Okay.
No, I think this one here is going to be, you know, they both have a great air attack about them. You know, Freeport has the advantage. You know, they're bringing in almost 400 yards per game, combined ground and air attack. However, they do own the ground when they do run the ball. I mean, they're averaging 144 yards a game right now, where South Walton, 61. So if you can control the clock, you can win the game. And that's huge. But if you can throw the ball around, that's even a bigger feather in the hat. So I think Freeport handles this game pretty easily.
Yeah, I don't want to give too much away, but I'm leaning Freeport as well after a lot of consternation and back and forth. But we will talk about it a little bit more. But when we come back, Guys, we're going to do our picks, and then Colin is going to have himself a little rant. So stick with us.
Oh
boy.
You know your lawn's looking a little bit janky. All those busted up sprinkler heads, dead patches. It's okay though. Final Approach Irrigation's got you. Their experienced and knowledgeable staff will quickly diagnose the problem and get right to work fixing it. Final Approach Irrigation is the best in the game, and they'll keep your lawn looking undefeated this fall. The refs won't be throwing any flags on them. They'll do you right. Whoops. Well, guys,
They'll do you right. They will do you right.
We're back. You know
all
your
right.
lawn's looking a little bit janky. All those busted up sprinkler every single time. Absolutely fair and transparent pricing, along with honest work ethic and integrity. Check them out over at finalapproachirrigation.com to get started today. Thanks again to our friends at Final Approach Irrigation for sponsoring this show and making sure you know everything there is to know about high school football here on the Emerald Coast this season. And
They'll do you right.
And not only will they do a better job at clicking buttons and making sure that your water or your lawn looks good compared to my ability to keep them on the air for their allotted commercial time. Just saying, they're amazing, right, Hunter?
Oh yeah, we'll do you right.
That will do you right. Do you right? You know. Look, I got a falsetto. What do you people want from me? Anyway, we got picks times. All right, guys, and it's gonna be real good because we're gonna start with Colin's picks. Colin, I know that says week 7, but it's not. It's week 8. So tell me, my brother, you picked South Walton over Freeport.
Why? I think South Walton's defense is really good, and I think that offense is even better. Now, Josh, you may, because I like to pride myself on being the one with the most high school football sports knowledge on this show. Sorry, everyone else. Sports ball. But the last time we saw a Freeport team like this go against a defense of this caliber was Pensacola Catholic, and they were held to the season lowest in points and season lowest in yards. And Carter Nunez and Dylan Luthane actually had their worst performances they've ever had in high school football to this point, while Julius Miles had 4 catches, 114 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So he kept the status quo, but for everyone else, they took a step back. I think the South Walton team is for real. The score may have not shown it against their game versus Choctaw, and I can't believe we made it 32 minutes in the show, and the Choctaw Indians have not come up so far this season, or so far this show. But South Walton has been the only team since their first game of Gulf Shores to actually score a point that's not in garbage time. So I think South Walton has a really good shot for the rest of the year. I think they're going to be a playoff team over Freeport. I'm really sorry. I just think they have a better team. They have a better coach. So that's why I'm taking South Walton. But I have low confidence because, what happens if Carter Nuns comes out tonight and starts, lighting it up? So then
you mean he comes out guns a-blazing?
Yeah, if he comes out guns a-blazing, I don't know. J.D. Brown has been put in the position of having a shootout game so far this year, while as Carter Nuns and the Freeport offense have. I mean, they've been in 2 shootouts, and they've won both of them. We move on to Catholic. I think Catholic's going to blow the doors off Walton tonight. A little less confident because Walton's defense is one of the best in our area. Their offense, they're replacing 10 starters on offense, so there's going to be some struggles there. I'm choosing Navarre tonight, and the only reason I am choosing Navarre is the past 2 weeks I've seen, I think, improvement out of this Raider team. They played Tate, lost by 3. They lost by 10 against Escambia. I think there was improvement there. I think that first win is knocking on the door, and what a better way to do that against a Crestview team who I think is not firing on all cylinders. While they won last week big over Pine Forest, they only can run the ball, and I think if that defense stops them, I think that offense is dead in the water. Choctaw obviously is our lock of the week, and I'm taking Tate because
lock of the week.
I am a Milton boy, and Pace can they can bulldoze that place for all I care, and that's why I'm taking the Tate Aggies.
Well, so no love for the Pace Patriots, who apparently on my record keeping thingy are 2-5, suspiciously similar to the Rickards Raider and Choctaw Indians results, which means that I copied, pasted, and then forgot to update the records. That's fine, I don't care. Pace is actually 5-1, as are the Tate Aggies. I think those are solid picks, man. But let's go down the line. Hunter Brock, you got your picks in here. And look, I even gave Tate and Pace the right records. So Freeport at South Walton. Freeport, I mean, you're picking South Walton. You got medium confidence. How are you feeling about this thing, man?
So I think, really and truly, I think it could go either way. I really do. I like South Walton in this one, and I'm going to be honest with you. I kind of picked this way so that I can give my brother-in-law some razzle dazzle since he's still teaching at Freeport. So, a little love between brother-in-laws here. But again, my confidence level there, I'm probably being generous with a 3 on the confidence because I think it could go either way. And that's another reason I'm excited. I'm going to be there to watch it.
Right on. And Catholic at Walton, I mean, Catholic's a good football team.
Yeah, Catholic's been a good team this year. Walton hasn't been a slouch, but I'm taking Catholic. I like Catholic in this one, and I feel fairly confident Catholic's going to win. Right
on. And then Navarre is at Crestview at the Hub City. And typically, Hunter, you pick against Crestview just out of spite.
Hey, yeah, you're right. Just out of spite. I'm a Niceville guy. Kind of like Alabama, Auburn, but we won't get into college today. So, anyways, I think I would be ignorant to pick Navarre. Sorry, Colin. That's just the way it is right now.
That's fine. That's okay.
Crestview's not having a great season, but we're Navarre at Crestview with the way Navarre's been, and Navarre's they're kind of a young team in places, but they're just I feel for them, man. They're not having a good year, but Crestview's got this one, and I'm 100% confident. There's your certified lock right there.
Certified lock. All right, and Rickards Choctaw. I'm surprised that this wasn't your certified lock, but
I mean, we call both of them certified lock because I'm confident in both of them.
Certifiable. All right, and Pace at Tate. Pace maybe questionable. Makael Williams, Tate Aggies.
And that's the whole thing. Makael Williams, Pace, got him. Not what happens there. I take Tate just because of that questionability. But again, I have no confidence in this one. I kind of like Colin. I'd like to see Pace lose. It's kind of like the Crestview thing. I guess the Niceville Pace rivalry is not that big now. But when I was here in Niceville back in those glory days, we went to lineman camp in the summer, and us and Pace would tie into each other and get in fist fights at lineman camp. So, I like to see them lose, but I don't have a lot of confidence in that choice tonight.
Sipping the haterade. Now, moving over to Heath's picks. This is fun for me. I like being off camera. Anyway, Heath, we didn't get your picks in, and I didn't update them, so we're just going to have to go 1 to 5, man. Freeport over South Walton. You told us Freeport. How confident are you?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going with the ones who can own the ground game. I think this is going to be very important, this one. You talk about how strong the defense is for South Walton, but I tell you what, you own the ground, you own the clock, you win the game. And I'm going to lock that one in. I'm sorry. I got to.
So Freeport?
Freeport.
Freeport, certified lock. And Catholic over at South Walton. Or South Walton. It says South Walton, and I just read whatever's on there. I'm like Ron Burgundy. But Catholic's playing Walton, a 2-4 team that has a very good defense. Who are you picking in this one?
Well, this one here, I'm going with Catholic. Obviously, 6-1 against a not so good Walton County. This is their Godby game for Niceville. So should be a pretty good scrimmage and prepare them for their following week.
Right on. Navarre at Crestview. Crestview 2-3 and has a win over Niceville and Pine Forest.
Look, I've said it for the past 3 years now. Crestview has some talented athletes on there, and they can pull it together when they want to. I'm surprised they're 2-3. If seeing the talent on the field and those athletes move around, I would expect them to be, 4-3, maybe, somewhere along there. But I'll tell you what, they're at home. Crestview's got the athletes. I think they're just going to obviously dominate this game. And, unfortunately, Navarre, I can't give you a little bit of love tonight.
Right on. And then Rickards coming all the way from Tallahassee, Florida, to get eat up in the meat grinder that is the Choctaw Indians defense over there at Joe Etheridge Stadium. I guess that would be my pick, not your pick. Are you in agreement with that assessment?
And that Choctaw is going to pull off this one pretty easily?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Again, Choctaw has been kind of one of those, really the gold standard right now in high school football in this area. They have just been completely, clicking on all cylinders. They're proven to be probably one of the best teams in the state of Florida. And I think they're going to have a really successful run at their state championship game.
Yeah, and then finally, apparently, I have Tate and Tate, but we all know that is Pace at Tate, 5-1 apiece. Tate taking that early loss, tough 3-0 1920s Gilded Age style loss to Milton earlier in the year. Who you got in this one?
Again, I'm gonna, in my opinion, if you can control the ground game, you control the clock, you can control the game for the win. And Pace putting up over 400 yards per game on average. 342 of those on the ground. So that's pretty impressive. However, Tate is also very effective on the ground. They're about half as productive with 187 yards average per game, but they also have the air attack. So this is going to be a good game, but I'm going to lock in Pace for the win.
Right on. And then Josh, my man, with the plan. Let me know. Yeah. What do you think? So how'd you make these assessments? And why do I keep misputting records on these games? Anyway,
he has
that's more for me.
On the South Walton game, I'm taking South Walton. I mean, I'm not totally confident it goes that way, just because, again, as Colin was saying earlier, what Women's of Cardenas comes out and they come out guns a blazing over there at Freeport tonight. I mean, that's just that one. But you know what? I'm taking South Walton because you know what? I know it's their homecoming game too. So you take the team that has the homecoming. Right? That's usually what you would say. But on that one, I'm pretty, looking, then going and looking at the Catholic. Going and looking at the Catholic and the Walton game, I mean, I'm pretty much close to being a log on that, but I don't want to discount Walton out totally just yet, because we've seen things happen where these teams are all of a sudden, you think you know a team, you think you know what the team is doing, you think, okay, well, we're through 6-7 games into a season, all right, we know what their tendencies are, and all of a sudden, here comes out of nowhere. Here's the week 8, week 9 surprise type deal, because I have seen it happen. And if y'all remember, you go back when it was at Metro Suburban. Remember when Mosley winning the district ended up messing up the entire region. it caused Pace to miss the playoffs. Is what happened. So again, we get into a situation like that. So, and then by the way, did I take Crestview? I thought I took Crestview on my picks. Did I not take Crestview?
I wrote down Navarre, but I could be wrong. You are.
Join me with Navarre.
No, I'm taking Crestview.
Josh, you call it audible or timeout? Hey, timeout. Wrong play was called. Hold on, guys. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm gonna
come over. Give it a silence. Come on. We got to talk, guys. Come on.
That soundboard is putting in work today.
We need one of those.
I got a Roadcaster. I got a Roadcaster Pro that has all these. I can plug in all these different sound effects into it. So it's no. I'm the breakster on that one. No, I'm going Crestview. It's at home. I just don't. I think there's the confidence in Navarre right now. It's just that it's the lowest I've seen in a long time for Navarre, and right now I feel like there's more confidence in Crestview winning that game than whatever so off on that one. But I'll tell you, my lock pick is definitely Choctaw. Lock it in. Make
Walk-a-rama.
That's a lock pick in my opinion. That's a lock pick. Put it in, and then I'm going Pace on the other lock pick. Those are my 2 lock picks. I mean, just lock those 2 teams in, because really, when Choctaw, with what Frank Beasley's crew's doing, I mean, that's not just offense; it's the defense. I mean, when you're scoring a lot to a little in every game. I mean, let me see what my sheet here. I'm pulling it up right here on the because I've got the averages here through all the games here through last week here, and let me see. Got so much data here. It ain't funny. When you're scoring 34 points a game and you're only giving up less than 5 points a game. Yeah, that's the meat grinder.
Yeah. No, it's over, brother.
Is the meat grinder, and that's just where just give me Choctaw totally in a lock, because I mean, they are just playing
there's so much lights out football. I mean, what Frank Beasley has done, and I mean, again, it's his alma mater, and to come back to your alma mater and do what you're doing, hats off to him. And, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so no last picks come from me. I got Freeport in this South Walton game. I think Freeport's offense is pretty good, and like you said, yeah, they didn't do well against Catholic last week, but I think it's going to go to a shootout, and I think whoever has the ball last wins. So I'm putting that I'm totally confident in that pick, but I'm leaning Freeport as of right now. That could change on the drive over there, honestly. Catholic, I think, has the win. I'm not going to put that at quite a lock, semi-lock, and so put them there. I picked Crestview, and I'm more confident about that. I think Crestview is a good ball club. Like Heath said, they have great athletes, and as long as they don't pretend to be a passing football team, I think they're going to win this one by 2 or 3 scores. Sometimes, though, they pretend to be a passing football team, and nobody has explained to me in a way that makes sense why. Choctaw, Rickards, come on. I mean, Locktacular. And Pace versus Tate, I'm picking Pace. I still like Pace. I think that backup running back they've had in the last couple of weeks is still pretty good. I think that offensive line is the real secret sauce over there at Pace. I think Makael Williams is a very good running back, don't get me wrong, but I think the offensive line is even better. And so, guys, we have one more commercial break, and then Colin is going to rant. And it's going to be super fun, so stay with us. You know your lawn's looking a little bit janky. All those busted up sprinkler heads, dead patches. It's okay, though. Final Approach Irrigation's got you. Their experienced and knowledgeable staff will quickly diagnose the problem and get right to work fixing it. Final Approach Irrigation is the best in the game, and they'll keep your lawn looking undefeated this fall. The refs won't be throwing any flags on them. They'll do you right every single time. Absolutely fair and transparent pricing, along with honest work ethic and integrity. Check them out over at finalapproachirrigation.com to get started today. Thanks again to our friends at Final Approach Irrigation for sponsoring this show and making sure you know everything there is to know about high school football here on the Emerald Coast this season. All right, guys, welcome back. Clear the floor. Make sure all of the weapons are loaded and stored in a safe place because it is time for Colin's rant.
It's time for Colin Rants.
Colin, I'll get everybody else out of here. You just go nuts. Make it happen.
No, just don't. Here's what I'll do. Just give me that. There we go. So here I am sitting in the drive-thru last night because I told everyone that the Milton would be a running clock, and it was. I left early. It was like 9:30. It was very nice. I picked my wife up. I go to Whataburger, and I'm enjoying my time. And in the wait, as I'm getting my sweet and spicy bacon burger meal, I'm scrolling through the Mid-Bay News Facebook page like I normally do, and I see people absolutely tearing into 15-year-old quarterback Deegan McCoy apparently for some reason, him crapping the bed last night against Mosley. And I got to be honest with you, I lost sleep last night over this fact that grown tax-paying adults with butt grooves imprinted in their reclining chair just decide to roast high school athletes like they're Todd McShay breaking down the top NFL draft picks. Now, Josh has probably more experience with this since high school football is his life. But Deegan McCoy is 15 years old. Robert Oliver has a college. He's going to JMU. He's going to be one of the Dukes next year. He's going to be tearing it up in West Virginia. He's going to be tearing it up in the Big 12 next year. You know, maybe you can give Robert Oliver some crap because he's going on and he made good, but he's 17 years old, 18 years old. Deegan McCoy's 15. It's his first season as the starting quarterback for the Niceville Eagles. And golly, guys, I thought if you saw Twitter or saw Facebook last night, you thought that Alabama lost a national championship game to like the Florida School for the Deaf and Blind. All right, it was that bad.
No offense to our deaf and blind listeners. Continue.
There's no fantasy team. Money is not being passed around. I don't know if there's any NIL deals, but if you're on Facebook and you think to yourself, hey, I'm going to go after 15-year-old children.
Anonymously
On social media, maybe you need to look in. Maybe you need to go to therapy.
Oh yeah, and to the adults that are doing that, you
Get
just
a hobby.
I mean, come on. I mean, I saw that too, Colin, and on some stuff, and it was actually off of a Football and Beach page. I saw people bashing Niceville and the team. I was like, talk about ghetto life. But I'll tell you what, these kids are tremendous athletes. I tell you, watching them on the field, and especially Deegan McCoy, especially for a sophomore, as poised and plays as well as he does. I mean, he's got 2 more years now. Okay, you got running back there,
Jacoby
oh
Gilliard.
my gosh,
Jacoby Gilliard.
freshman and sophomore combination with a few other youngsters in there. I mean, I'll tell you what, next year they're going to be eating their words.
Yeah, they're going to be better. Back when you were playing Gary from Niceville or Gary from Fort Walton Beach, they were playing with leather helmets. All right, back in your day. All right, you may have CTE, and you need to get a life. And
Don't give them the CTE.
And if you're from if you're from Fort Walton Beach and you live below Racetrack Road, if you live below Racetrack Road, you have nothing to talk about because your team is 1-5. If you live above Racetrack Road and you're a Choctaw, then you have some some thing. You have some bragging rights because you beat Niceville at home.
You got to ask yourself.
With some of our former players.
Here we go.
You definitely need to get a life.
If you're at Fort Walton Beach High, you better be focused on baseball and basketball season because the season's over. It's done. And
he really is dishing out the burns. Wow.
Maybe golf is more their speed.
Here's the thing.
Hey, don't make fun of country club sports. They have a great lacrosse team. I don't need this.
These are children. These are student athletes. All right.
You're right.
Richard Morgan is his first year as Niceville high coach, and I'm going to give him slack because he is everyone's probably a junior or sophomore on this team. Jacoby's a freshman. There's not very many seniors on this Niceville team, and you're going to have a young team with a young coach who comes in and goes 4-4. Hopefully he comes with a winning record, but if they have a losing record, it's like, oh my God, I can't remember the last time Niceville had a losing record. It was 2000. My wife was just born.
Yeah. Well, keep in mind, he came in right before spring ball too. So,
yeah.
I mean, you talk about somebody who's come in, did a quick evaluation, implement his play schemes. I mean, hats off to the guy. I think, he
didn't even get a full off season. So you can't. No.
Yeah.
Didn't he come in after spring ball?
Program.
Did he come in before?
Came in May.
Yeah.
You
came in right before spring ball started.
Yeah, you didn't even fully really get an off season with them before spring.
Yeah.
And
I think he had 2 weeks prior to the spring before they had to go up to Crestview and play the spring game. So, I mean, I'll tell you what. I mean, I've sat down and talked to the man several times. I mean, he knows football. He's got a pedigree that
he's a winner.
I mean,
he's won in Georgia.
Heck, I would have
Virginia too, I believe.
For him.
Yeah, I'm a Milton guy, and I understand how bad this Milton team has been for the past 3 years. No one showed up to games. 3-24. They were awful. You could say every bad thing on social media, and it was probably justified because they were awful. Now they're 6-1, potentially going to the playoffs. And I mean, it was a Thursday night, so what are you gonna do? But that stadium was half full, and it was kind of sad.
Ultimately, I think I've told all of y'all this individually, but I think that we will not know how good Richard Morgan is for another 10 years, and here's why. I do want Niceville to win football games. Don't get me wrong. I think it's good. It's good for the business. I'm not going to lie about that either. But ultimately, I have to live with a lot of these kids after they graduate from high school. And it's like the opposite of the Fulmer Cup, right? Like back in the day, we would assign the Fulmer Cup to the team with the most felonies or arrests every year in college football. Right. And to me, the real measure of a high school football coach is not in wins and losses. It's in what the kids do afterward. Right. And so we won't really know how good Grant Thompson was for another 5 years. Right. We won't really know how good Richard Morgan is until 2035. Right. So, yeah, I want them to win football games. I want Niceville to win football games. But I want these kids to develop and be good young men. I think ultimately that's the whole idea behind high school sports. They're fun to watch. They're fun to talk about. And that's why we do this show every week or twice a week, I guess. So to me, that's what counts, right? Character counts. And Niceville's not going to win a national state championship every week or every year. They may not make the playoffs every year, but ultimately what matters is the kind of men that come out of this program. So
you're right. I agree with you on that 1,000% because it's not about the wins and losses. I mean, that's only a small percentage. It's about do these guys go off to college? Where do they do? Do they make themselves good citizens? Do they end up in the NFL? For some of these guys that have exceptional talent. That's where it lays at.
I'll give you an example from last year. Timberland Smith was a defensive player who's a senior last year, graduated. Great kid, worked hard, and he went to trade school. Is what he wanted to do. He wanted to go be, I think, an electrician or a plumber. But like that kid is going to be a fantastic leader of electricians or plumbers or welders or carpenters or whatever, right? And like to me, like that is the kind of guy that Niceville produced, and that matters, right? That matters in the long term. And so to me, that's what I'm watching for. And if I can find a way to calculate that and put it in a data set and assign it so I can show you guys, everybody, like here's the best program based on success, I would do that. Still working on that, but
I concur with you. I concur with you. I mean, your product not only reflects on the field actions, but it carries with you once you leave the program and you go on to whatever profession or career field you end up, whether you become a college student, you get into the trade schools and things like that. The old saying is a coachable kid is a successful kid. Mm-hmm. If you're not willing to sit down and listen and take direction, then how can you ever really win at life? Because you've got to have mentors. That's what coaches do. The senior players mentor the younger guys, and it just trickles down from there. So yeah, I concur with you. I think that's one of the boldest statements you can make about the how the coaches are influencing our community and what we produce to go out into the workforce, whether they go to college or whether they hit the trade schools. I mean, it's a win-win for everybody because that's what it's all about. Because you can't play football forever. We all had a shelf life with it. I wish every kid the opportunity to go to the NFL and be successful. But you're plagued with injuries. You just, like I said, your shelf life expires. I mean, some of us never make it out of high school. But but that's the fun of it. So enjoy the moments and make memories.
All right. Look, my last snap playing football for any team, and you guys are gonna make fun of me for this, but I have still represented the school, was the Pensacola State College flag football team, where we went to the Swamp Bowl. It was a flag football tournament if Josh may knows about this, but there's a flag football tournament. All the colleges go to it.
Yep. And it's usually on the bye week right before Florida Georgia, and they're planning to have it again this year. So now they've got it now that not just the colleges, but they bring in the AAU teams that are the high school level as well. So they got that coming up here in a couple of weeks right before Florida Georgia happens. So. That'll be a huge event. It's always a huge deal. I try to slip over there and see some of the coaches before everything, but it depends on what I got going on. Busy schedule coming up here in the next few weeks, so I'll see if I end up going there.
But to Jeff, who does HVAC and drinks like Michelob Ultra,
that's a fine beer.
It's a fine beer. It's less carbs. It's less filling, but. You're not a critic. You're just a dude yelling at someone's kid. Like, that's what you're doing. Go touch grass, as the kids would say. And maybe you can be a better person. I don't know.
And with that, friends, Romans, and countrymen, we're going to go watch some football. Have a great evening. Don't take it too seriously. Be nice to the refs. There's only like 28 of them. If some of them quit, we're going to have a ton of games on Thursdays. So
don't criticize them. Don't criticize them, and don't criticize the kids.
Just be kind to them.
Yes.
You don't have to agree. Anyway,